Let's see, good morning. Well, good morning. This is John Hauser with my YouTube channel, Free Advice from 76 Years. That's right. Going to be 76 real soon. Making a cup of coffee. Since I started this YouTube channel, I have become preoccupied with it. I realized that this is something that I can do for many years and have lots of fun. And I would recommend that any person start a YouTube channel. I mean, I don't think the age is that important, but for people that are my age and older, I think it's important. Now, I was born in 1950, so now I'm headed to 76 real quick. So I'd highly recommend anybody start a YouTube channel. Now, where I'm at now is I am going to try and get my channel monetized, and I'm looking now to improve what I do. It's just like making a good cup of coffee, although this is automated. I'm going to try to improve my channel and try and improve it by 1%. I have read many books over the years where they talk about that 1%. If you can improve something just by 1% as you're going along, if you improve 1% a month, that's 12% at the end of the year. Which, if you're in business, that's easy to understand. I worked with a company many years ago. Gosh, it was 30-some years ago. Actually, it was longer than that. I started with them in the 1980s. And their goal was to increase their business by a small percentage each month. Not a huge percentage, but a small percentage each month. Now, to give you an example of how that worked. I was working for this particular store, and back in those days, we had what were known as floor salespeople. You worked on the floor as a salesperson. These salespeople did not receive a salary. They only received a very small compensation. They had to generate commission. To make money with this particular company. And so, as a salesperson with that company, I had to generate volume. And the way it worked is the customers would come into the store, you would greet the customer, and if you made a sale, you got paid a commission. And I remember when I first started with that company, it was really totally new to me what I was doing. But they only paid us like not even enough money hardly to cover your gas expense to get back and forth. But the customers would come in and you would introduce the customers to the particular products, and you would show them what was on sale, you would show them what the specialties were. And you know, it took a while to learn this. I actually was with this company for a year on OJT. It required 1 year of OJT. In other words, when you went to work with this company, they assumed that you didn't know anything about what they were doing. So you were literally on probation for the first year. And the first year was tough. There was so much to learn. And we didn't have the access to the technology we have nowadays where you could sit down and ask Google and it would tell you something. No, you had to know everything about the product and everything about the business, and you had to have it memorized. You had to know it. And you had to know it off the top of your head. If a customer came in and said, I have a room that is a 12 by 10 and I'd like to put in new carpet, you had to know right off your top of your head that a 12 by 10 was 13 1/3 square yards. Yeah, you had to know it. From 1 foot to 75 feet, you had to have it memorized. And the same thing was true when we were doing with hardwood and ceramic. So what I'm trying to say is I expect that the first year of YouTube, I expect my first year of YouTube to be a learning experience. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit so I don't look so out of balance here. Let's see how that. Oh yeah, that's better. Now you can. Now I don't look like just a big giant head. Oh, excuse me. And I will probably break every rule that you can break in making these videos. Now, here's my suggestion. I'm 75 and a half. Actually, I'm closer to 76. Relatively good health. I mean, I have a few aches and pains. I have a few conditions that seem to come along with this age, but you know, I still have most of my hair. I'm still pretty good looking for a guy at my age. You see, I take my glasses off. Now I can't see anything. Well, what I'm trying to say is, I would recommend you start a YouTube channel. It's not hard to do. I had somebody at church the other day ask me about it, and I said, if you have an iPhone or a smartphone, it's relatively easy to do. It's relatively easy to start the channel. You just sit down in front of your phone and start talking. And they said, well, what do I talk about? And I said, what do you know? And this young lady said, well, I would like to teach an art course online. And my response was, start a YouTube channel and start building it up. Now, my problem with a YouTube channel is I think about it all the time. Since I started doing this, I have become obsessed. Not possessed, but obsessed. There's a difference. I think about this all the time as to what my next video is going to be. If you're watching my videos, last night I showed a video where Susan found a baby turtle, a little baby turtle, out on the walk area. We were out walking at night. She found this little baby turtle. She picks the turtle up, takes it, puts it out in the lake. I made a video on that. Got 1,000 views on Susan with the baby turtle. Earlier in the day, Susan had a run-in with a squirrel. Susan had a run-in with a squirrel, and I put that on YouTube. I am decided that I'm going to just video everything, it seems like, because I'm having a problem narrowing it down. I hear people say you got to have a niche. I thought Nietzsche was a philosopher. You know, there was that philosopher, his name was Nietzsche. You probably won't get that unless you have read some philosophy books. That S that's on this cup, this is my wife's cup, the S stands for Susan. Narrowing it down to just one topic, I'm having trouble with that. So I'm just going to have to talk about everything until I figure out what it is I'm supposed to talk about. So I'm literally going to talk about everything. Now, if you can put up with me talking about everything, then please watch my videos, like and subscribe. I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, and of course we've got to have 1,000 subscribers to make this thing profitable. And I don't know if that's so important, because I'm probably going to talk for the rest of my life. You retire. I retired when I was almost 68. I wasn't quite 68 when I retired, and I was used to communicating with people every day because I got into sales. I actually got into sales after I was out of the military. I got into sales in the late 70s, and I've sold a lot of different products for different companies, and each was slightly different and slightly unique. But it required you to be able to talk, to communicate. Now, I don't talk as well as I used to because of these things here. I literally had to talk, learn how to speak again. I literally had to, after I went through this process, I literally had to learn how to pronounce words again. And it was very difficult. It was kind of a challenge to overcome. But I'm working on it, and I'm trying each day to try and improve the quality of my videos and my speech. But if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, do it. There's a young lady in our church that has started a YouTube channel. She's done very well. Her videos are really getting out there. It's very impressive. I just think it's a great thing. I would like to see more people do it. Now, let me say this, especially people of our age. people of our age, and by the way, I'm sitting here, this is totally unscripted. I haven't scripted it. I wrote nothing down for this one. No notes, nothing. I'm just sitting down in front of the camera and I'm letting it rip. People that are my age, 75 plus, there are fewer and fewer of us around. In the last month, I have lost two friends. One was here locally that we had met through a church we were attending, and we did a little business together. We did some eBay together. And then another friend that we knew in the city where we lived before we relocated here, and we had known him since somewhere back in the 90s. And we used to have this handshaking contest. We were both young and strong back in those days. And whenever we would meet or see each other, especially like if we were in church, we would have the handshaking contest. And each one of us would see who could grip the other guy's hand first, because if you were first, you could get the best grip. And we were always shaking hands to see who had the strongest handshake and who could hold out the longest. And there's been several times that my hand has been crushed, but his hand got crushed too. I mean, we would be shaking hands and we would be on. And it was kind of a handshaking contest. I guess it was to see who was the most macho, right? He recently passed away. He passed away just several days ago. And he was a little older than me. He was 80 years old. And what I'm trying to say is that people our age and our friends that we have, they are slipping away. And their slipping away seems to be rather rapidly. So you have a story to tell, and you need to tell the story while you're still around and while you're still alive. Now, I am a Vietnam veteran. A lot of Vietnam veterans talk about Vietnam constantly. I talk about it somewhat. And the reason I only talk about it occasionally is because the temptation is to overtell a story or add extra details or make it sound, glamorous and glorious, which it was not. But I am a Vietnam veteran. Now, I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in South Vietnam at the Bien Hoa Air Base, and I was a crew chief on a fighter bomber. And let me say this about Vietnam, and we're going to get off that topic soon. The Vietnam War went on for years. We lost thousands of people. And that's because the politicians drug that war on. If the people had the initiative then to do what is being done compared to what's being done now, the Vietnam War probably could have been over in just a month or two, because we had the ability, we had the firepower, and we had the technology even then that we could have won that war very, very easily. And President Nixon said he would end the war in Vietnam, and he did, but then things went south from there. So what I'm trying to say is you cannot trust politicians to fight a war. You've got to trust the military and let the military do their job. And in the current situation, now it could change, we don't know how it's going to work out, but in the current situation, our military is doing a wonderful, excellent, great job. And they'll wrap this thing up real soon instead of taking months and months and months and years. But start a YouTube channel. If you have a story to tell, if you have a political opinion, if you have a spiritual opinion. I am a Christian. I became a Christian in 1974. In 1974, I trusted the Lord as my Savior and began to study the Bible. And so that's an opinion that you can express. If you have a form of art, my wife loves to do diamond art. She does this beautiful diamond art. She spends a few hours a day on it. That's her hobby. If you have something you want to say, if you have something you want to express, now is the time to do it. And I'm telling you that young people out there would love to know what you know. I mean, this is the age of social media. When I was growing up, we thought it was a privilege to have a record player. We had one of those looked like a little suitcase. You'd open it up and you'd plug it in, you put either a 33 or a 45 on there, and they didn't sound very good. I mean, they didn't have good sound quality, but it was a record player. That was technology. You had a black and white TV, and we didn't have any portable phones or any of that stuff. See, the young people need to know that life was different. But at the same time, we can take modern technology and use modern technology to tell our story. So I highly recommend, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, go ahead and do it. There's lots of good videos out there that tell you how to do it. You can watch old Mike. There's a whole variety of grandmas and grandpas out there making videos and having a good time with it. And now I'm one of them. I had thought about writing a book, and I might still, because I do journal every day and I write a lot of stuff. But this is a fast way to get the story out there and get the information out there. This is a fast way to do it. Just sit down in front of your phone and start talking. And you can have a cup of coffee while you're doing it. And you can say things like, I'm a conservative. Yes, I'm a conservative. I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a Christian. People need to hear those views. I'm a veteran. People need to hear those views. I'm an intellectual. I have read a lot of books. Now, why do I consider myself an intellectual? Because I think and I think on paper each day. I will take my journal and I'll sit down and I'll write out 3 pages or more of things that I'm thinking about. Thinking on paper. I do that. I think on paper. Well, what's left? I would highly recommend you get Earl Nightingale's CD or find it on YouTube. It's called The Strangest Secret. It's by Earl Nightingale. I listened to it the first time almost 40 years ago. And Earl Nightingale on that, and by the way, it was originally on LP, long play record. Earl Nightingale talks about the strangest secret. And the strangest secret is you are what you think about all day long. In the book of Proverbs in the Bible, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If we think evil thoughts, we're going to be evil. If we think good thoughts, we're going to be good. Thinking. Doing a YouTube channel will help you think. And I'm just trying to think what else I should say. What other things? Oh, please like and subscribe my channel. I've been doing this now since January 1 of this year. And I'm going to press on with this. I enjoy it. It's fun. And I'm going to do some more. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Like I say, it's not scripted. I didn't start with an outline. You're not too old. That's it. You're not too old to start doing a YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, this may be the best time to do it, and here's why. I am not currently working a regular job. I'm free. I don't have to work a job. My wife and I do not have a large income. We have a relatively small income compared to when we were working. But we have a comfortable house. Our house is paid for. Our cars are paid for. We have enough money each month to go out to eat once in a while. We have enough money each month to buy groceries, pay our light bill, and take an occasional trip. So now is the time to start the YouTube channel because you have the freedom. You have the freedom to do it. So anyhow, I'm going to shut the camera off on this one, and I'll probably make another one. But I'd highly recommend starting a YouTube channel. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Like I say, my speech is, I used to do a lot of public speaking, but my speech and my voice are not as good as they used to be. But I decided that in spite of that, I would do this anyhow. And I'd highly recommend that you do it. So for my YouTube channel, free advice from 76 years and a grumpy old toad. I'm not really that grumpy. This is John Hauser saying thank you for watching. See you next time.